550 KTRS here in St. Louis.
With you, and here's the reason why I can't talk about the case, because as a nation we've decided to resolve sexual harassment cases by shutting up women, either in settlements or in forced arbitration clauses in your employment contract, which is also secret and you can never talk about it. So that's why I wrote the book Be Fierce, to empower more women to come forward, and that's why I'm working on Capitol Hill to change the laws to take away the secrecy element so that women also have a voice in 2017.
Well, I'll ask the questions and you respond accordingly, and if you can't answer, I certainly understand, and we'll sort of go from there. But Gretchen Carlson, I've often said you're ground zero, right? Without Gretchen Carlson, we don't have the stories on the front page we have today.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. You know, when I jumped off the cliff 15 months ago, I had no idea what to expect. There's no way I could have predicted how it would unfold, and immediately I started hearing from other women, and that really is what buoyed me and gave me the impetus for writing this book, because I realized in a shocking way that this is an epidemic in this country, and it's in every profession. It's not just TV and Hollywood. It's waitresses, it's members of our military, it's teachers, it's flight attendants, it's everywhere. And I wanted to give these women a voice and move the ball forward to discuss how do we fix this for our next generations.
Working for a small company, the radio station is a small company. I've worked with big companies, worked with small companies. We've had, sensitivity training and so on and so forth. When I hear these stories, it seems, as a man, I get it. I'm sure I've done it in ways that I don't even know about. But there's innocent sexual harassment and there's over-the-top sexual harassment. And it seems to me the over-the-top sexual harassment, Gretchen Carlson, is generational. That's the older white men. Is that an accurate statement, or is that also sexually insensitive when I say something like that?
I thought that too when my story broke, but unfortunately that's not true. Look at the tech industry. Look at what happened at Uber and what happened in Silicon Valley. These are new generation of men. So, that says to me we still have a lot of work to do. I think it would be nice to think that it's only men from a different era, but that's also an excuse. Boys will be boys, like Harvey Weinstein said. I'm a product of the 60s and 70s. Oh, boo-hoo. I mean, that is such a cop-out. My grandparents were born in the 1900s, early 1900s, and I know they didn't treat each other that way.
Right.
So that's just a cop-out, and that just tells me we still have so much work to do. And here's where it starts. It starts in the home and how we decide to raise our boys and girls. And I don't know any parent who wants this to happen to their daughter or son when they go into the workplace. So this is why I wrote the book Be Fierce, to help. In fact, there's a whole parenting chapter to help us to empower our kids from a young age to respect one another. This is essential. And then college campuses, my goodness, this is where this behavior gets out of control. It's why I'm going on a college campus tour with Be Fierce, because we've got to get this message to people when they're young before they get into the workplace. When
a woman finally comes out and tells her story, what happens to them? There's a certain amount of freedom that is associated with this, but is there also a certain amount of backlash from people when women come out and tell their story?
Yeah, I would start with the backlash. We still label women liars, troublemakers, worse. We automatically don't believe them, and then we malign them, and we shame them, and we tell them, that couldn't possibly be happening. He's not that kind of guy. Well, that doesn't move the needle forward. I think now, though, we've reached a tipping point, and if I had anything to do with helping these other women to come forward in the Weinstein case and others, then that makes me immensely proud that the work I've been doing has paid off. But now we're seeing this tipping point where, the hashtag #MeToo, and women and men are putting their stories out there without the shame anymore. And that's really the dynamic that we need to change. We need to replace the shame that women feel by coming forward and put it on the harasser. That's where it belongs. It doesn't belong on the woman who had the guts and the bravery to come forward. No, let's put their faces, the harasser faces, on the cover of magazines and put the title shame. Because that's where it belongs, not on the victim.
No, I agree. And that's why there are some women who have come out and said, you included, that have said, hey, you know what? This isn't a woman's issue. This is a societal issue, because the women, by deeming it a women's issue, you are also perpetuating the falsehood that it's the woman's fault, or right? It's the men's fault right? It's a man's issue more than it's a woman's issue.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. I have come to that exact conclusion, just like you did, that it is not a women's issue. We can't have this entire burden on our shoulders to fix it. We need men to help us. It's why I devoted a whole chapter to Men Who Defend in Be Fierce, because I found so many great men doing already great work. The majority of men don't harass, and the majority of men want safe work environments for their wives and their daughters and their nieces and their granddaughters. So here's my call to action to men today and to women. Stop being enablers and bystanders, and please come forward and say what you see. We talk about that after 9/11. If you see something, say something. The same thing is true for this issue. Let's eradicate it. Let's shift the power paradigm within companies and celebrate people who come forward. Imagine if we all agreed to do that today and to be fierce.
Yeah.
We would change this overnight.
Gretchen Carlson, our guest, her new book is called Be Fierce, Stop Harassment and Take Your Power Back. Now, I'm going to ask this question in a sensitive way. Is there something women can do to help the cause as well? Not just speaking about it, but when it happens, sort of call it out themselves, right? I mean, oftentimes I understand why it takes years to come out and why women don't say anything because their jobs are threatened, they're embarrassed, and all the other things. But is there something women can do?
Sure. That's another reason for writing the book is one woman can make a difference, but together we rock the world. So let's all agree to say stop that, outright. Let's all agree that we're going to speak up and stand up. Because unless we agree that we're going to all do this together, it won't have the same impact. So I agree with you, but I want to leave you with this. Here's what I found out. A woman can wear anything and be sexually harassed. She can wear a skirt, she can wear pants, she can wear army fatigues, and she can wear hospital scrubs. It's really not about that. We need to shift the conversation from that to why is the harasser doing this? Because trust me, I could have wore sweatpants every single day, and I think I still would have been harassed. So we got to try and shift the blame away from how the woman dresses or whether or not she has on makeup and good-looking hair to put the blame on the harasser.
Gretchen Carlson, you are always welcome here. The book is called Be Fierce, Stop Harassment and Take Your Power Back. Good luck on your journey, Gretchen, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. Be fierce.